Good morning. What's up, guys? How we doing? We are on big bar 14, 442 out here from the close. And you're looking at an NQ 5-minute chart, and the Nasdaq here currently happens to be in a pretty sizable range. I mean, the ATR here is 54, but a lot of indecision going on out of NQ thus far. So let's see if we get the bulls or the bears taking control here. For a split second, it looked like we may have a big softball channel on our hands. However, this quick little rejection, if that maintains, that makes me start to look at it a bit more like that. There we go. We're able to grab these things. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. How we doing so far today? Any trades thus far? Yeah, an ATR, that's the average range of a 5-minute bar here on NQ. We're sitting at 55. That's a good ATR. I like 55 as an ATR. The problem is you need ATR plus price action, which we don't have too much of right now. But that you know, you guys know we're never more than 5 minutes out from something setting up. So gotta be sitting. Let's get rid of this as to not tempt anything. Less than 2 minutes here till the close of 14. All right, if now we're 30 seconds out from the close of 14. You know, if the bears are able to hold it in this little range, here. Again, if you're just joining us, biggest concern right now is this guy here. If the bears are able to fade us back and then we bounce, it's like, okay, this is a trading range. At that point, that bottom right of your screen, that number says 56, right? We got to keep an eye on that. Yesterday, we saw a good start. That just dumped off to 51 on the rollover. We saw a good start to that ATR, and then it faded real quick. You guys remember? Then we got a bit of a move in the afternoon, which was nice. But in a sideways range, you got to take it easy. One thing keeping me interested here is the fact that it's about 100 points wide, 90, 95 points wide. So, I mean, you know, as long as you don't get big bars like 12 and 13, you can make something work. If I'm able to get a ram set up here. Oh, come on, you guys. This market! Big old doji on bar 15. Kind of a tease, huh? ATR 48. Dipping beneath 50 here now. But stuck in a big old range. Let's get away from this range. Yeah, see, you know, I gotta tell you, I'm not really a big fan of trading around S tier levels, like in the general vicinity, 25,000. You know, 20,000, 25,000, whatever. Because you end up getting glued to it often. At least glued around it, which can, even with higher ATR levels, it can start to kill off price action, at least any prayer of clean price action. I'm not losing hope for the day at all. We're going to get out of this little range, but for now, man, it's like, come on. All right, we're a minute 43 out here from the close of 16. So being in a sideways range, you know, a bit of room to the 20 EMA being at the bottom of my list as far as importance. You know, if 16 could close beneath the wick low of 14, I'd have maybe a B- setup. I'll get ready just in case. Again, for me, this is like a B- kind of deal. But if I get it, I'll slap her on. I don't think we're going to get it. Nope. All right, here's the rollover into the open of 17. That idea is out the window. So let's see how 18 closes up. I'm sorry, 17. Let's see how 17 closes up. and 18. Oh, there's that move that I wanted. That's okay, I didn't get the setup right. So, you know, there's a lesson here. And that lesson is, what is that? It's a sideways trading range, correct? Now, the logical thing, now you got to stay and hear me out. The logical thing here would be to buy in the lower third, or at least the lower, maybe 20% of that sideways range, right? Sure, that's logical. But how do you manage your risk? Is it arbitrary? Do you use the wick low of 7 and 13? Which is a very soft area, by the way. You guys know when I draw lines, I'm not drawing it to a tick. I'm not overthinking it on purpose. We're drawing the average. So if that line, that low of the range at 7 and 13 is a very soft, not really set in stone area, because none of it is, right? And we think about the range, you take that and then you throw it into the barrel full of water. And then we also take the fact that you got to look at ranges as kind of that rubber band effect, where the middle of the trading range here is you're kind of floating with no force pulling or pushing you in any direction as far as probabilities. Okay, so when you start thinking about it that way and you throw all that in the barrel and see if it floats, the risk management issues, the potential reward before the probability is basically 50-50. When that rubber band is no longer taut, it's loose, you're in the middle of the range and there's really no force as far as probability, right? It's 50-50 approximately on average. it makes it a really tough trade to take, which is why taking limit order reversion scalps in sideways trading ranges, not soft bull channels, not soft bear channels, but straight up sideways trading ranges is a tough way to make a living. It's one of the toughest ways, I think, to try to make this work. Now, if the range is wide enough, continuation setups inside the range can be great setups. But limit order reversion scalps in sideways trading ranges, especially if they're single bar sideways trading ranges, is a really tough way to make money. Yeah, so I mean, look, a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to see this, right? Yeah, well, for me, I try to look at, okay, what's kind of the most recent argument, comma, what is the most dangerous thing to me, regardless of the most recent argument? Though I put a little heavier weight on the most recent argument. Well, both of them, the more recent argument and the thing that's more dangerous to my trading, is obviously the sideways range. Right? So until the bulls can take this up through the high, the wick high of 7, and then pull back, put in another low, and really give me a soft bull channel, I can't look at it that way. I'd love to look at it that way because that would mean more setups. But right now, this is a sideways range. Gotta be careful. ATR is still hanging out reasonably high, sitting at 47 here on the ATR. Not for long if they keep it in this range. We'll be in the 30s if they keep it in this little range. Did any of you guys play this drop? Probably not too many of you in the US, huh? But those of you guys overseas might have caught something there. Big alert, caught some, good work. Treff says I trade Ram 3-minute chart at night. 3 minute, great chart. About a 3-minute ram trade on that flush. Good work. Yeah, as far as time frames, this is probably one of the most common questions I get from, well, I guess beginner ram traders, but more beginner traders in general. You know, like, what's the best time frame? And everyone seems to have an answer. The reality is, it doesn't matter what time frame you trade. What you need to do is you need to pick the one that best suits your personality type. Now, that's kind of a trick question, because in the early days, if I was purely going off my personality type, I'd trade about a 15-second chart. But there's not enough data in each bar on a 15-second chart for that to be, like, reasonable. I think the fastest reasonable is probably a 1 minute, maybe a 30-second if volume is really, really high. More like a 1 minute chart. A 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute. You want to trade a 10 minute, fine. 30 minute, hour. If you're a swing trader, you want to trade the daily. As long as there's enough data in each candle, if you remove the price and the time, all those charts, you know, they're going to be pretty tough to distinguish from one another, which means that you can trade your price action methodology really on any time frame. The difference just comes down to sizing and average trade duration. And of course, on the faster time frames, you are going to get more setups. But the average quality of this setup starts to go down, but the sample size of trades you're going to take goes up. So you got to determine, you know, if you're going to trade a 1 minute and you trade 6 hours a day, can you make reasonably consistent, good decisions for that entire session? Or do you start experiencing, decision fatigue sneak up on you after 90 minutes and you don't really realize it and you're like, why do I always lose money in the afternoon? Something to think about. I think the 5 minutes a great balance. You know, it keeps stress levels low. I enjoy it. But sometimes, you know, on a daily today, it's not like the 5 minute doesn't feel slow sometimes. Of course it does. Nothing wrong with a 2 minute, nothing wrong with a 3 minute. They're all great charts. Yeah, so since we are in a big sideways range, pretty non-negotiable at this point, right? You gotta remember, about 80% of breakout attempts will eventually fail, so we don't want to get too excited until it's actually there. Meaning, usually for me, 2 closes outside with a real ram setup, and at that point I'm good to go. Big old wick here on bar 20. All right, 20 is rolling over into 21, 15 seconds out. Man, if this price action here today is not a test of everyone's patience, I don't know what is. I gotta tell you, if you've sat through since the open, if you've taken a trade and it fit your methodology, that's great. But, you know, if you're trading RAM or whatever and it hasn't called for you to take a trade and you've been sitting since the open, I gotta tell you, I am very proud of you. That's a big deal. It's been, you know, what, 100 minutes since the open? And you're sitting on your hands? I want you to think back to yourself maybe 6 months ago. Could you have done this? And by the way, you guys know, when there's setups, man, we'll slap them on, one after another. We're not scared to trade when the time comes. I think a lot of traders, there's an arc. Most traders come in and they overtrade like crazy. They're taking tons of negative expected value stuff. Hey, I did the same thing. And then you get to a point, or at least a lot of traders do. I never really got to this point, but a lot of traders get to the point where they start claiming patience when really it's just a fear to do anything because they've lost for so long and it's painful, so they don't really want to trade, but they just kind of brush it off as I'm being patient. We got to be somewhere in the middle. The answer is be patient when nothing is there. And if you get 6 beautiful A setups in a row, hit it, hit it, hit it. One after another. There's a lot of contrast here as far as activity being a trader. It feels a little unnatural at first, but you'll get to it. You'll get there. Just keep putting in the screen time. Keep doing your job. It'll happen. I think, alright, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go grab coffee. Somebody make a phone call while I'm gone, please. And I'll take one for the team. I'll disappear for 2 minutes. We'll come back, and this thing's gonna be about 200 points, one direction or the other. Alright? Don't you go anywhere. Be right back. What's up? Welcome back. We've got Big Bar 23 making an attempt outside of the range. See bar 22? How insecure bar 22 was? Can't get up outside. We'll see if 23 can get up above the wick high of bar 7. If it can, that would be the first bar. But being the high of day, it's a little more attractive, even being the early trade, and it would be a small body. I wouldn't be so interested in taking the early trade if it closed as a big bull body, which means my risk is higher relative to the ATR of 47. But let's see what he can do. You know, we're 37 seconds out. You gotta remember, most breakout attempts are gonna fail, but as long as the risk can stay nice and small, I'm willing to try to catch a scalp on it before the probable outcome, which is to fail eventually. I don't think I'm gonna get the setup to begin with. 18 seconds, better get ready regardless. I'm not interested in missing something today. I don't think so, man. Look at this. All right, there's the open of bar 24. So what, no one made a phone call? I ask you guys a simple favor, and nobody makes a phone call. Jesus. No answers, huh? Typical. Typical. When they want a favor, you know, we pick up the phone. See that? 24 bears taking it right back into the big sideways range. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, halfway through bar 24 here. Well, you know, the good news is for anybody who's getting kind of eaten up in this price action, believe me, sitting on my hands and stuff like this wasn't always what I would do. But if you are getting eaten up, good news is Apex is 90% off, baby. Single day pass with code BIG. So you can get right back in the saddle. But, you know, gotta tell you, hanging out, being very picky in a big sideways trading range like this from bar 7 to bar 24, that is a learned behavior. This is one of the toughest environments to find positive expected value in. That's just straight up the truth. Band-Aid passed Apex last night. First Apex funded account. Good work. Good work. Alright, Bears. Let's dump this thing off a cliff. I want to go down and stop hunt the wick low of bar 2. We would love it, wouldn't we? You know, it's very tempting to start looking at this as a very, very soft bull channel. I just don't think we're there. I mean, it's not like, for me at least, I could buy the close of 24. If 24 is closing and you force me to do something, I'm going to buy it and risk the wick low probably of 20. But I wouldn't want to have to do something because I know that we're a little premature to call that a soft bull channel because, you know, realistically, again, the more dangerous thing right there. But if the bulls can take it up, take out the wick high at 23 again and start giving this a bit of fade as far as direction, we might have a soft bull channel. Quickest way to a setup right now, though, is let's just dump this thing off a cliff. Let's go down, stop hunt the wick low of 2. Low a day. You know there's a bunch of bull stops down there. Effectively market sell orders when they get triggered. Yeah, right back higher. I imagine the trader therapy section in the free Discord might be popping off today, huh? Hopefully not. Which, by the way, if you're not in the free Discord, the link is in the description. It's totally free. There's a section in there that I call Trader Therapy because, man, I don't care how big and tough and whatever you are, trading is really, really hard. This is one of, if not the most difficult things you will ever pursue long-term in your life. And if you ever got to talk about a tough time, post in there, and someone will reach out. All right, there's the open of bar 26, still in a straight up big sideways range. Got to take it easy in here. Got to take it easy. It's tough. It's tough to find positive expected value when the market's doing this. That's just the way it is. No matter how you slice and dice it, it's not so easy in here. Yeah, remember guys, I mean, okay, so hang on. There's nuance here, okay? If you draw it like this, and again, don't overthink levels. Everyone's like, okay, where's the wick low of 7 right there? You're wasting your time. Just draw the average of what you think 100,000 traders and algorithms would draw, and then look, right in the middle of here. What is that? Middle of the range. Okay, now if I have a beautiful RAM continuation setup, that's going to be B territory, but I'll put it on if the signal bar is small. But it's got to be 2, if not 3, consecutive bull or bear bodies for me to take that in a wide range. Now, most of the time, that's not going to be the case. So on most bars, on most bars in a channel like this, if you find yourself tempted to buy or sell right around the middle of the big trading range, you got to think to yourself, that rubber band is no longer taut. It's loose. You hold it. It's completely loose. There's no tension on it whatsoever. What does that do to probability? It's 50-50. It's 50-50. So when you're tempted without a setup to buy or sell in the very middle of a very, very obvious trading range, a sideways range, right? This is specific to sideways trading ranges. Just remind yourself of that. Probability is damn close to 50-50. Is that really a trade you should be in, or should you, do something else until this thing breaks out? Or at least gives you a setup. By the way, this is something worth talking about. I'll keep it brief, okay? But in the live streaming space in general, in the last, 2 years maybe, you guys, I'm sure, have noticed, gambling has become a very popular thing. That's fine by me. I honestly, great. Adults are going to do what adults want to do. Gambling is a real, do not get addicted to that. It will destroy your life very quickly. I promise. It's not a good thing, okay, obviously. But every adult knows this, okay? So if you're able to partake and just kind of be half interested, The reason I bring this up is because that's the more ideal. Now, obviously, best case scenario is you just don't care at all. You're like, why would I do that? And you just stick to your job, right, which is trading. But the reason I bring this up at all is because a lot of traders, they start to use the market to gamble. Now, if you want to partake in some kind of gambling, you are a grown-up, do whatever you want. If you find it entertaining, have fun. But when you come back to work, could not be more different. You have effectively, when you're coming back to trade, you're stepping over from the player side back to being the house. Okay, and you need to draw that line and make that distinction. You cannot use the market to partake in your gambling activity to entertain yourself. I'm not saying because of whatever reason. I'm saying because it's going to make you despise what you do for a living or what you're attempting to do for a living. If you completely lose your self-respect by using the market to gamble, you're no longer going to believe you can do this for a living, and then you're going to fail. Right? But if you're like, yeah, but I have fun. I'm responsible with it. I just do it for fun. You need to separate it. Okay? Trading is your job. It's your professional outlet. You are always the house when you're trading. If you then go to choose to gamble because you're like, yeah, I enjoy it. I'm a grown man. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Then you have to separate it. And I encourage you, if you're going to do that, not that I would encourage it to begin with, but if you're going to do it, have fun. Just don't do it here. Go gamble on the one of other infinite things you can gamble on. Just don't do it in your futures trading because it's going to cause you to lose massive amounts of self-respect. It's going to ruin any prayer of data that you have as far as having a positive expected value. All it does is blur the lines. Why would you do that here when there's infinite things to gamble on if you choose to do it to begin with? Okay, again, I'm not so, again, I think it's a horrible thing to get addicted to. But I also believe in a free market. Adults are going to do whatever they want. Okay, if we had 100,000 people gambling live, it's like, great. If people are watching them, they're going to keep doing it. That's fine. Again, adults. But you got to make your own call, homeboy. Don't do it here. If you're going to do it at all, do it somewhere else. Separation. Right? Church and state. Don't do it here. Come on, 27. Give us something to work with. But, worth stating here, by the way, I think almost all crippling gambling addictions begin with the assumption that that's not who you are and you won't get to that point. And by the time you slide into it, it's too late. So you got to ask yourself the question, is it worth even dabbling? Is it worth dabbling? And I think if there's even a question of where you're at mentally, I think the answer is probably no. Come on, 27. Give us something to work with. Beautiful. All right, let's see. Can the Bears do it to him? There's the rollover at 27. First close outside the range. That's the strongest attempt we've seen. 80% of these breakout attempts are going to fail. There you go, you got the bulls fading it right back into the range. Oh, man. All right, now actually, for the sake of conversation, let's keep it civil. I'm going to run a new poll about just that. And I will tell you, I am on the no side of this poll. I think you should stay away from it if there's even a question of where you're at mentally. But that's just how I look at the world. At least for this topic. Not all topics, but this topic. What do you guys think? Oh, wow. Overwhelmingly no. Interesting. Someone says I put that question in the category of should alcohol be illegal? Same thing. Yeah, see, you know, there's a different answer for every one of these topics. Not looking to get whatever, but this is just friendly conversation. I don't drink. I'm just uninterested. I got that out of my system when I was a teenager. And then you guys know this story. It came to the point before I was even 21, I was basically done. I was like, let's go make some money, dude. Like, especially once you meet your partner, get married, it's like, why are we doing this, But my stance on the alcohol thing is, no, I don't think it should be illegal. However, I do think growing up in Wisconsin, I saw way too many people who had about 5 DUIs and were free and kept doing it. I think that alcohol should not be illegal, but I think DUI number 1 should be a major punishment. It's ridiculous how much of a slap on the wrist it is. It's like, oh, DUI number 4, okay, 30 days community service. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? This is insane. They're gonna kill somebody. DUI number 1, you go to jail for a particular amount of time. Not forever, of course, but a particular amount of time. 100%, and massive fines. And if you're like, you're wrong, Nico, how many DUIs do you have? Come on! 48 on the ATR, let's see, bar 28. All right, 30 seconds out. Beauty. Ten seconds. Get my stop limit cell ready. Come on, Bears. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, they're wicking it back. 15 seconds. I'm going to give it 15 seconds. It wants it. It wants it bad. Beautiful. Okay. I'll take that, Phil. Let's see if the bears have it in them. And in the meantime, we'll get rid of this. Now that setup only gets 15 seconds to fill me because that wick. You see that small little bear body? It's about a B minus setup, but if the bears want it nice and quick, I'll throw it on, see if the bears can get the job done. ATR 46. Steven says, in Massachusetts, if you have 3 DUIs, you lose your license for life. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's just so unnecessary. Alright. Come on, Bears. Let's get it done. Let's get it done! How far are we, by the way? Tad early here for a stop hunt, I gotta be honest with you. That's okay. It's close. It's close. That setup came a tad early. Christian says DUI is a big no-no here in the UK, as it should be. This 12-month driving ban, unlimited fine, up to 6 months in prison, and a criminal record. Yeah, I mean, man, some states in the US, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like alcohol's baked into the culture. It's just weird. It's a bizarre thing. Come on, you bears! Man, Bull's popping it hard. Let's see if they can take out the wick high of the signal body, which is, well, signal bar, I suppose, which is 28. Heading right back up into the range. Cut it, move on. Let the copier flatten here. Alright, we're flat. Alright, moving on. Trade number 1. Unable to head down toward the wick low at 2. Big bull body here on 29. About to close up, and I gotta wait for bar 30. See what 30 can put together. ATR sitting 47, by the way. Still pretty good on the ATR. Okay, so we're kind of at the point now where I really need something else to... Well, what I mean is this price action is just... I always say, if you're confused... Sorry, if the market's confused, why the hell would you not be, right? Right now, the market's confused. It doesn't know if it wants to break out at this point after bar 29 and now 30, or if it wants to head back up into the range. Which means that I'm sitting on my hands waiting for the next setup to come. First trade, short the close of 28. Didn't work. But that's alright, moving on. All right, there's a close of bar 30. All right, we're 3.5 minutes out here from the close of 31. Not 31, stay a bit smaller. All right, 2 minutes here. Yeah, don't ever get caught up. I see some people talking about that trade. Don't get caught up in that game. Oh man, I'd be in back to break even. I should have held that last trade. Do not do that. Follow your methodology and move on to the next trade. I don't even think about it. All right, 60 seconds here. That's right. The danger is the worst thing that can happen is you get away with it. Moving your stop loss, averaging down when you know it doesn't make logical sense to do so, or for a lot of people in general, if you're trading kind of a little bit maybe too big to begin with. Don't do it. Follow the plan, and then look for a new idea. Don't get caught up with the old idea once it was, time to cut it. All right. 22 seconds out. I will see. We don't really have a new range yet, but we do have 30, 31. ATR 48. All right, let's see if I can get a reasonable close here out of bar 31. All right, I'm going to give that 15 seconds, see if it'll give me a fill. And if it doesn't want it, I will pull the order. 10 more seconds. No fill, no trade. Gotta pull it. Gotta pull it. Moving on. All right, 32. Let's see what you got. YC says, just joined the tomb, learning RAM. Good to have you, brother. Keep plowing through the material. There's a lot in there, but no rush. No rush. Better to take your time and understand the curriculum rather than rush through and have no recollection, you know? I wasn't a school guy, but this school might actually be worth it here. There's no ceiling as a trader, which is the whole point. All right. Bar 32 popping. Are we going to have another sideways range? That's what we don't want right there. That's the concern. You guys haven't yet, hey, please hit like on the stream. It helps out tremendously. And I appreciate you doing so. Okay, we've got 20 seconds here until the close of bar 32 into the open of bar 33. I'm not yet extraordinarily convinced of a big soft bear channel, but I definitely see it. I see the vision. Problem is I also see a potential range. When you have a setup, or when I have a setup like this, it's not of the highest quality ever. But there is potential for me to short a small to moderate bull close, ideally, in the upper third of what would be the soft bear channel, even if there's an argument for the sideways range. As long as we have both, I can put that in the B minus category, which means I have to take it. But this thing has work to do before I'm even at that point. Alright, 240 out. Okay, there's an argument here, of course, for the range. There's also a small, newer argument. The soft bear channel trying to develop. I have that 20, which is last on the list, starting to dip beneath the wick high of 29. And I have bar 33 trying to make headway. Not doing a tremendous job at doing so far. Currently sitting in the middle. If it can get up and close up, maybe just slightly above the wick high of 32, that gets my risk nice and small. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, bulls not looking good for the bulls here. Alright, No trade on 33. Moving on. Look at more and more just like a little wedge or a little range, huh? There you go, bulls. Picking it up nice and close to the wick high of 29 here. Turning into a bit more sizable bull body. Which starts taking off any argument for a soft bear channel here, especially if they can pop it up through that 20 EMA. ATR is still holding up, by the way, sitting at 46. Yeah, there you go. Argument for the soft bear channel is kind of out the window. So the question now becomes, are we headed up back into the full-blown trading range between bar 7 and like 26? Or are we going to create a new one here between bar, I'd say 29 and the current body? That's the question now. All right, there's the open of bar 35. See that? Closing just barely inside the wick highs of 29 and 30. Little insecurity out of the bulls. Question here, they say, what do you do with a dull market? Gotta sit on your hands until you're presented with positive expected value, and then you execute, you accept the outcome of that particular trade, and you move on to the next. You do your job. That's what we do with a dull market. 320 out here from the close of 35. Minute 55 out here from the close of 35. Let's see if I can grab a trade on this. Gotta see a nice clean close. All right, 20 seconds out. Got to go ahead and get my copy trader engaged and see if the bulls can make this not so wicky. Come on, bulls. I need a clean close. That's too much wick. Too much wick. No trade there for me. On bar 35. Yeah, a bit of wick here on 35. Nothing but hesitation in the first 2 minutes of bar 36. Bear is trying to take this right back in. Okay, so we've talked about this before. You know how when you end up in a situation where you could kind of draw a million different things, you're like, oh, it's a soft bull channel, soft bear channel, it's a sideways trading range. When this is the case, when the market is confused, why the hell would you not be, right? All right, guys, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go hit lunch. Again, this market's confused. So I'm going to wait until it's not quite as confused and I can actually grab some positive expected value here. So, about that time, reminder, code BIG, B-I-G. If you want daily payouts, go to TakeProfitTrader. 40% off, no activation fee, which rips off $130 when you pass. If you use the code Apex, of course, right now is 90% off. And you can pass in one day, be funded by tomorrow if you choose to. All right, guys? All right, you guys go hit lunch as well, or dinner, breakfast, man, wherever you're at in the world. We know that we are global around here. I think only like half the people are actually in the States here on the stream, which is cool, something like that. All right, guys. See you in the morning. Let's have a good afternoon. See you soon. Stay patient.